Hi, it's Kim, and I'm back for another week of 10-minute tips for your relationships. 10 minutes. So I'm here today with my partner for life. And today we just want to have a conversation with everyone about what's going on, being at home, being what I call hunkered in and staying safe and staying at home. But how is being at home together like this affecting your relationship? And so I have my husband here, Bishop William Todd Irvin, and just say something.
Well, I'm glad to be on 10-Minute Tips. This is an amazing show that airs weekly. Please don't miss it. It's always something informative. And though she's my wife, I am so impressed.
Oh.
But let me say that I really think that we have to really take into consideration what's happening right now. And she mentioned being together. And when we start now,
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, because this will be 35 years we've been married coming up in June, and God gave us a cheat sheet on this because a few years ago, after she finished her degree, she wasn't actually working, and then started working with me at the church. So we were riding together, working together, and we both laughed because at the beginning of our marriage, it would have been a train wreck. Ooh. I mean, we weren't trying to be around each other. We were trying to get a breather when we could. That. She's trying to go to her parents' house, hang out with them, whatever. And, marriage is rough in the beginning, if we were to be honest, because we don't date the real person. We date other people.
Right.
And then the real person comes out if you say, I do.
Mm.
And, but being that we were more mature in our marriage when this happened just a few years ago, actually, maybe not even 5 years ago, where we had to be together 24/7 almost. And it kind of gave us a cheat sheet on what to do. So yes. I'm fine. I'm good. I love spending time with my wife. She may be tired of me. I don't know. You have to talk to her, but I love spending time with her, and even doing this is amazing, and I hope we can minister to you and say something that's going to help you today.
Yeah. So I too have enjoyed being home. I do get restless sometimes because there's only so many clothes you can wash, so many counters you can wipe down, so many meals you can prepare, so many floors you can vacuum, and then you start all over and do it again. However, I am working from home, so I am not just home idle. I definitely have a lot to do. I'm being called upon practically all day with, different issues and concerns from the youth and the adults that I serve. So it's been a challenge just a bit because I am used to getting out of the house on a daily basis and going down to my office, spending time there, and working from there where it seems to be a little more, I'm able to focus a bit better. Yeah. So it's been a challenge trying to focus on my work. We have a pretty nice sized family, and I think I said it on my tip before, if it wasn't last week, the week before, that even no matter how large your house is, sometimes you just can't find a place for personal space.
Even for recording this.
But we're making it do what it do.
Right.
As Mama Lillian says, we're making it do what it do. And just engaging the other parts of the family, saying, hey, we're about to do this, and can you guys refrain from coming down or using this area of the house? So that much has worked, I think.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was I wanted to get your opinion on some things that we talked about last week. We talked about pushing buttons. Okay. And what is your take on pushing buttons? I mean, I know one of the things I was saying last week was that, sometimes when you're irritable, you're anxious, sometimes people push buttons in thinking that they're going to help a person move to another level.
Wow.
And sometimes you have to be on the other end of that button pushing to see how that feels. Maybe that's not the way to push a person. It's kind of like, and I was thinking about this after I was done with the 10-minute tip. It's kind of like you wanting to help someone lose weight. But you're always telling them how fat they are.
Wow.
And, oh, do you think you should eat that? That's probably not the best thing for you.
Wow.
That's not encouraging.
Exactly.
That's very discouraging.
Right.
And so what happens is people
And demeaning.
And so what happens is people tend to probably eat more and gain more weight when really what they wanted to do was just the opposite.
Mm-hmm.
So in reference to pushing buttons, do you feel like you've pushed a few buttons?
I plead the fifth. No. Yeah, I mean, we're not perfect. Don't get me wrong. We've, like I said, we had a kind of a pre-test on this a few years ago when we worked together, went to the office together and did all that. Mm-hmm. But by all means, we have not perfected this thing. We're working on it.
Right.
And God is perfecting us as we move along. But there's a few times, when things come out, it's like, oh, I shouldn't have said that, and I'm sure you probably felt the same way, but I know I've definitely felt that way along the way. And we're usually pretty good at apologizing. We've been pretty apologetic since day one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it takes a while for it to come out. It has to be kind of squeezed and pushed and forced. Right. But eventually, you know what? I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Right. My bad. And there's nothing wrong with saying, especially to your spouse, your mate, like she said, life mate. If you're going to be in this thing to win it, you got to be willing to be honest and frank with yourself.
Right.
And be able to call you out on the rug, per se, and put you out on Front Street,
mm-hmm.
And I feel victim of, my own inward stuff. And that's where it usually comes from, a place inside it. And like you said, even talking about people, you're big, you're this, you're that, and you're dealing with their insecurities.
Right.
And when you push on people's buttons, you're usually dealing with some type of insecurity,
right,
or some place that's a weakness, or a place that you or they think that is a weak place, and it usually causes them to either fight or flight.
Right.
Like I said, and a person eats more, they probably taking the flight, but if they cuss you out, they chose to fight. So
right.
Either way, it's a bad reaction.
So, it's a bad reaction, and I can definitely say that I've been guilty of pushing a button. And after you do that and you see the reaction of the person that you're engaging with, you tend to see that they didn't feel so good after that. It didn't make them feel better about themselves. And,
mm-hmm.
If we're one, we say that we're two become one, right, as a couple, then if he feels bad, then I feel bad.
Right.
I shouldn't glory in him feeling bad about himself. Right. Right. So I wanted to talk about that a bit. Let's chill on the button pushing. Yes, we are all at home together. I was laughing because we have a little bonus granddaughter, and her mom has been doing some Facebook Lives and videotaping some things the kids are doing. And she got on her little piano and her little microphone, and we had the sentiments of all of America. We're at home. She was singing on her little piano. We at home. We are at home. And I was like, yeah, baby, we are at home. So we're all at home.
Right.
If you're not an essential worker, if you're not out there every day, mm-hmm. We are at home. We're in the house together. Mm-hmm. And like I said, no matter how large the house may be, hey, it seems like sometimes it's closing in on you. So, let's cut each other some slack. Let's be a little more considerate of each other's feelings, mm-hmm. so that, we can make the best of being at home together. We were just listening to the news prior to this, and they were saying this may last into the summer. And everything in me went, no. But it is what it is.
You can't handle the truth.
Right. Yeah. So the next thing I wanted to ask is, what would you say your biggest challenge has been being at home? Because you are a on-the-go person. Busy, always involved in something, always positive stuff. Yeah, always positive things, but, you're an on-the-go kind of person. And so what has been the biggest challenge for you?
I had a conversation this morning, very interesting conversation. One of my members texted me kind of out of the blue. And she was like, how's my, brother doing? My brother from another mother, and we're very close. And I told her I wouldn't say her name, but, and I told her, things are well, we're doing okay. And, kind of muddling or making it through this, And she said, it's been rough for me. She said, emotionally, spiritually, It's been okay, but Sunday it kind of got to me when we could not go to church on Easter. She said, I grew up going to church, especially on Easter. It's like one of my traditions. And she said, in quotations, all traditions not bad, which is true. I know it's like, I know you caught up on the building, but yeah, when you're used to going to the building and being with people in fellowship, it makes a difference, and just some things we are used to. And she just mentioned how rough it was and how tough it was. And I told her, well, it's rough on me because, I tend to be a people's person. I love people. I love entertaining, even cooking. I'm like looking at you, you enjoying those ribs? That's good. You like that? Whatever the food is? Yeah. I'm really into the entertaining.
Right.
So not even just at church, but even at home in other places. And right now, no one can come over. We even have children that don't live with us that can't come over right now. It's like, okay, well, I'm a grandbaby, that kind of thing. But it's just something we're learning to deal with and to live with. But this is something totally new. It caught us all off guard. I'm glad the government's finally admitting, yes, it caught us by surprise. Yes, we were not ready. Let's just tell the truth. It is what it is.
Right.
I'm not used to pastoring without people in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm not used to doing that, but I believe God is up to something, something wonderful. The gospel is spreading. And if you notice the church, my father always said the church really spread under persecution. The church didn't really spread until they were, forced to be out of the church. So that's where we are.
Right. And if I were to be transparent, I would say that my biggest challenge, and this is like complete transparency here, my biggest challenge has been not being able to be in control.
Ooh.
I love me some control. And when I say that, I don't mean like, go here, do this, do that, but just having the freedom to come and go and do what I need to do and what I want to do, as an African American, Black, female, educated mother, wife, just being able to navigate my day and do the things that I need to do. So that's been a challenge, a big challenge for me. Not so much being at home with my family. I love my family, but and I know how to sneak away and get in a corner somewhere.
Right.
So that's been a challenge for me. Yes. I think we talked about what have been some of the pros. I think it's the spending time together, being able to talk. One of the things that I encourage couples to do, since you are home now, if you are home together consistently every day, all day, is that you work on your communication skills. Work on your communication skills.
Not the C word.
Yes. Work on not only, how to talk to each other, what are the good times to talk to one another, how to, engage in a conversation, how to be honest without being insulting, and just digging in and dealing with some of the things that maybe you have not talked about in a long time, or some things that needed to be addressed that maybe you felt like you didn't really have the time to address those items. So now's a good time to really work on those communication skills. It's so important that we learn how, especially now. Just think about it. And I'll just be real frank. If your communication was really lousy, I'm not going to say the other word I was thinking about, but if your communication was really lousy, now's not the time to be in the house together with really bad communication. So there are so many things that you can do to work on your communication. I think maybe the next tip will be about communication. I don't want to just put you out there and say work on your communication and not give you some tools to work with. So the next tip will definitely be on communication. So what would you say some pros are?
Family time has definitely been a pro. Appreciating one another on another level. Because my mother stays with us and another family member outside of our nucleus that we already have. And it's really allowing me to see things differently because my mother is 90, which puts her in a vulnerable state.
vulnerable, yes.
You know, and my brother is of age too. You know, with some pre-existing things, so it's really wow. I mean, the protection mode, just trying to protect them and make sure I don't bring in something once I've been outside and coming back home. You know, we've been real careful with that Lysol, the whole nine. But it's just some things we've taken for granted for a long time. We appreciate it now. Like I said, being able to go places, being able to do things. You know, not that we do wild stuff. I mean, we're over those days where we're just trying to wild out. We ain't trying to do anything crazy, but just you know, I want to go to the mall. I want to go to the store, you know, let's go eat at Red Lobster or whatever. I mean, just those things we just took for granted. And right now we just can't up and go do those things. You know, you just can't do it like you used to. So it's, you know, I don't know. I think the pro is learning how to, again, appreciate the simple things in life. And that is each other.
Yeah. You know, and that's a good point that you raised there, talking about enjoying the simple things in life. One of the other things that I've learned during this time is how unnecessary some things that I'm used to, how unnecessary they really are. I mean, it's nice to go to the nail shop every 2 weeks. It's nice to get a pedicure. It's nice to get a manicure or feel, or, you know, it's nice to get my eyebrows done. But, you know, those aren't things that, you know, are life or death. You know, they're not life or death situations. And so I've learned that there are other ways to accomplish those goals. You know, other ways to still look nice and feel good about yourself, you know, without having access to that. Now, I'm not saying that I'm not going back to the nail shop. I realize that they are not necessities.
Well, just like this morning, you know, I went back to walking. I hadn't walked in a while. I do a 2-mile walk every morning. I went back to walking this morning. And as I was walking, I saw a lot less cars on the street. And it made me think, even the day when I had to go down the other day to Long Beach, you know, take a drive, it was really no cars on the freeway. And I heard on the news that the smog is down to a level it hasn't been in years, like back in the 60s or 70s. We had an oil crisis or something like that, but smog hasn't been this level in a long time. So, I mean, even our economy and ecological, you know, things are better right now. You know, the smog and all those things that normally affect us aren't there right now. So, Corona's there, but, you know, the asthma people probably aren't breathing as hard as they usually do because the smog is lifted. So, I think we still have to learn how to appreciate, you know, all things working together for good. Some way, somehow, this is going to work out for our good. We got to really believe that.
So what would you say is, give me one takeaway?
Don't take life for granted. You never know in one moment how it can change and shift.
Very good.
Swift transition.
Swift transition. One takeaway for me is that I appreciate being able to do the things that I haven't been able to do for my family. I appreciate being able to cook for my family. You know, my daughter and our son are on quarantine because my son had tested positive. And I appreciated being able to take her laundry and do it for her.
Wow.
That was a blessing for me. Now, I'm not making a practice out of it, but because she was not able to take care of that for herself. So just a takeaway of being able to be there for my family, you know, in a time where they really needed me. Thank God my son is fine. You know, he had very little symptoms, if any. But the fact that, you know, he was positive, you know, was concerning for us as parents.
Very.
So we just wanted to share just some common conversation with you all, and just encourage you to hang in there. You know, think of this time as a time to really work on yourselves, work on you personally, work on your marriage, work on your communication, work on your family. You know, do the things that are necessary to, you know, make your marriage and your relationships much better. You know, these are my 10-minute tips. You take care, you stay safe, and stay at home. Bye.